And this is the bag. If I was not traveling with guns, this plus my camera bag is all I would be bringing with. Today I want to talk about my budget setup for flying a rifle and pistols using just one bag on a recent flight from Oahu to Big Island. Now this is just me and the corners that I'm willing to cut to save a few bucks. This is definitely not the video to be watching if this is your first time flying with guns and you want really good advice on how to do it. There are a bunch of videos out there that offer a lot of really great advice. I will leave links to those down in the description. But if you've ever tried to fly your guns in an El Cheapo case, maybe something like one of these, and things went, let's say, not as planned, let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear about it. Just don't say anything you wouldn't want the ATF, the FAA. And this is the bag. When I travel on an airplane, especially for a short trip like this one, I try and go very light, and I try and condense everything down into one check bag or 0 check bags if I can. This is an old Marine Corps issue sea bag. I actually really hate this thing. It's not very comfortable, but it's overall very lightweight, which means I can pretty much max out the weight of the stuff that's inside it. What it allows me to do is put the guns and the stuff that would normally go in a separate check bag together all into one bag. The proper way to lock a sea bag, if you know, you know. Combination locks. In here, I have everything segmented out, so where I have my gun case and I have everything else. And what I can do, typically, if I've packed it well enough, when I'm at the check-in counter, I can kind of stand this thing up on its side, show them everything that's locked up. Normally speaking, I can get everything back in there the way it came out. But in the event that it does not, I keep everything segmented out. So I've got these little packing cubes, more packing cubes, and then down here I've got another backpack. This bag is basically empty. I only have 3 or 4 bags inside the sea bag along with the gun case. So if I'm in there and stuff's jammed up and stuck, I can just really quick empty the whole sea bag and then load it properly, which is gun case first, big bag second, smaller bags last. The bag itself also offers some cushion for the stuff that's inside and the other hard stuff that's inside the sea bag with it. First off, I want to talk about this gun case. This gun case was like 50 or 60 bucks on Amazon, and I don't recommend flying with a case like this. And the reason for that is just because it's cheap. I noticed this thing fell off somehow while it was in the bag. Pop that back on there. Like, it's 50-50. If you had someone at the airport who was opening this up to check it out, they open it up and then this thing just pops off on you like that, they might look at your case and be like, okay, well, this case can't fly because it's weak and it's flimsy and it can't hold anything. A cheaper, flimsier case like this one, you're always running the risk that whoever's checking you in at the counter is going to decide it's not sturdy and they're not going to let it fly. Now, I haven't had any issues running a case like this yet, but that's kind of something to watch out for and be aware of. I carry 2 sets of keys. I went with these locks because these are the smallest and cheapest locks I could find. And the reason why I went with that, with most gun cases, when they are locked, you can open the latches. And if you had like a larger lock like this that has some height to it, a larger lock like that allows you to open the box and get some movement on the lid while it's still locked up. And depending on who's checking you in at the counter, they can be really anal about like being able to get their hand inside the case. So some of them are like, if I can get a finger in there and touch something on the inside, it's a non-compliant case and you can't go. Which is where I say you always run a risk, because with this case, you definitely can. It's got all the locks on it. It's got the smallest locks I could find, so there's not a whole lot of play. And even with all the locks on it, I can still crack this open and I can touch the foam on the inside. There's nothing in the immediate vicinity of this, but that's something to be aware of. If you have someone who's real stingy at the counter, they might tell you this case is non-compliant. They might send you home. So if you're using a cheap, flimsy Amazon case like this one, you are always going to be taking a risk. But for the most part, if it looks like a gun case, most people at the airline are just gonna accept it. Ear protection. We're traveling really light today. Whenever I do that, I like to bring out this Eagle sling bag that T-Rex Arms sells. I've got some extra holsters. Ammo here in this case. Again, this one's combination locked out. This ammo can is not the best ammo can. It's got a O-ring seal in it. The plastic is flimsy enough that this seal doesn't seal properly, if that makes sense. A cheap little plastic ammo can, but it's lightweight, it's rigid, and what's nice about it is the latch locks over itself. For instance, if you were to put both of these locks through here, you'd still be able to open this up a little bit with the locks engaged. If you lock over the latch keeps the whole lid closed, and without being able to open the latch first, you can't get any movement on the lid. If I'm traveling with only a pistol, sometimes I will use this as my pistol case. It's a hard-sided container and it's lockable and it can't be pried open from the outside, so it fits the regulations for transporting firearms. But today, there's not much in here, so I just have ammo. So on the federal level, the amount of ammunition you're allowed to transport on an airline is actually quite large. But each airline gets to decide how much ammo they want to let each individual passenger carry. So most of them have settled on 11 pounds. So what I typically do is I'll fill this can up until it has 11 pounds worth of ammo in it, and then I'll just stuff it with other stuff to keep it from rattling around. So I've got my rifle sling in here, rifle magazine, a couple extra pistol mags. I carry my little factory boxes. Now I've actually got this box here. This one's loaded with 100 rounds of 5.56 in stripper clips. I'll buy ammo in like 20 round boxes or whatever. I'll put them into my stripper clips that I bought off of eBay, and then I'll stash those in here because it just happens to fit perfectly inside this box. And when it's in there, it looks like it's factory packaged ammo. Because I keep everything in stripper clips, I always carry a spoon with me everywhere I go. At home, I normally store all of my range ammo in plastic bags inside a ammo can like this one. I will keep these boxes around. I'll take the smallest ones that I get, the smallest ones in the best condition, and I will just store the boxes empty, because whenever I fly, I'm gonna take the ammo out of wherever it's at. I'm gonna package it back into one of these boxes, and it's gonna look like brand new ammo. So when I open it up for the guys at the airport, so here I've got 100 rounds of 9mm. I think there's another 100 in here. The locks came with 2 sets of keys, so I carry 2 sets of keys. I carry one that stays in my camera bag, and I carry one that stays with me. Each lock set came in a 2-pack. Each 2-pack had its own set of keys, so I've just color taped them. This is the gun case. So when you're flying, you're gonna get a firearms declaration. It's gonna look very similar. Government mandated, but each airline gets to make their own. So each one is gonna look a little bit different. This is typically gonna go inside the gun case. This is the part where they're gonna ask you to open up, verify that everything's unloaded. This is where most people who have like weird stories at the airline check-in counter, most of those stories are gonna revolve around getting this card inside of this case. I've got a little bit of ammunition package in here. This is the rest of my 9mm, the other half of the 200 rounds. I got the smallest case that I could because I wanted something that fit inside my sea bag. I got the lightest case that I could because I wanted to maximize the amount of weight that I can carry onto the plane. Metal touching plastic is the general rule that I go with when I pack everything together. Magazines on top of everything, just to make sure that the width of this gun matches the width of this gun with the flashlight, if that makes sense. I carry CO2 mags for the airsoft gun, and I just buy CO2 mags when I get to wherever I'm going. I travel with one green gas mag. On the Big Island, I know there's a couple stores that sell it. I normally fly with just a small amount of gas inside the magazine. I'm pretty sure that helps to avoid any pressure issues with the magazines and the seals and stuff, but if you guys think differently, let me know. Airsoft gun, a Glock replica because it was the cheapest one at the store. I use this for dry fire. For the airsoft gun, I've got it in a paddle holster. Clip on, play around with it. A lot of fun on most days. A stock SIG P365. This is my carry gun. T-Rex Arms sidecar holster. Testing it out. Not sure if I'm sold on it yet. 10-round magazines with a 12-round pinky extension, but it just doesn't allow for extra ammo. It's just a block of plastic there. Because here in Hawaii, no handguns are allowed to have magazines that are capable of holding more than 10 rounds. That is Hawaii law compliant, and that helps me get just a little bit of a better draw. AR-15 only fits in the box when it's broken down with the buttstock removed. I keep the buttstock with all the extra stuff. And that's how I back up 2 guns, an airsoft pistol, all of the ammunition and support equipment that it takes to run them on the other side. 6 more rounds.